Hey everybody, welcome to Live Coding with Jesse. Today we're going to continue with the styling that we were doing yesterday. So I did a little bit of work on it between yesterday's stream and now. So I'll catch you up with the work that I have done, and then we'll keep at it. Let's see. I did want to let you all know, in case anybody can make it to the November conference that I'm going to be speaking at in Nashville at the end of November. I don't know if anybody is in that area or is planning on being there, but if you are, I know when and where I will be speaking. So I thought I'd share that with you all. You can go on the November site and check it out whenever you want, but I just figured I'd put that on there. So I will be on Tuesday. It'll be Tuesday, November 20. I think it's the 28th at 4 p.m. So not bad. Got this time slot right before the keynote speaker. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but I'll be one of the last speakers. All right. So let me get. I don't have my live chat window open yet. Let me get that open. Okay. All right. Looks like someone wants me to link. So AR wants me to link the site. I'm going to put a link to the site that we're working on in the live chat right now. All right. So I've changed some minor details, but I think they're important details. Not everybody would notice them, but it's important for consistency. So it's going to be hard to tell without a side-by-side of the old version, but what we've done is we've added a different shadow and we've changed the border radius. Before, the border radius was 3 pixels. Now it's 2 pixels. That might not seem like a big deal, but we use 2 pixels for everything. Unless something's changed, the last time I checked, for material design, the standard was a 2 pixel border radius. So we switched that up. We have the proper shadows now. The shadows were different. We have a new button. The colors may or may not change. I just copied these over from another form that I had done. So we have, let's see, we're going to have to change that border radius. So I was right in the middle of getting this button changed whenever I started the stream. So let's make sure that that border radius is correct. We now have the correct shadow and the correct effect when we hover over it. Okay, we've gone with the all caps for the text and slightly thicker for the font. The fonts will all change too. We're going to change the font family. And then, other than changing the font family, changing the color of these is probably the last thing that we need to do. Yeah, because this effect is exactly what I want. So I'm really glad that this is the default effect. That way we don't have to worry about trying to implement this. Okay. Alright, so let's finish up with this button. Let's change these colors, and then we'll try to get the correct font in here. So let me see right now what those are. No, this isn't the right. I have a lot of DevTools windows open right now. Okay, so this actually has a 3 pixel border radius right now as well. Oh, look at that. Alright, we definitely don't want that. So that's the on focus. Alright, good to know. I'm glad we caught that. So let's go over to our CSS. So since we're adding so much to our CSS, I started putting in some comments just to break it up. So all these are for the nav bar, these are for the cards, this is for buttons. So hopefully it'll make it easier if we ever have to come back to this, or somebody else has to come back and edit this at some point. It'll make more sense. Alright, so first of all, let's take this target X button focus. Okay, that'll get rid of those styles that we saw briefly. Forgot my period. Oops, and I forgot to check the chat and start my timer. So let's get the timer started wherever it is. There it is. Okay, so let me do 25 minutes of coding, and then we'll take a 5-minute break and I'll come to the live chat. So if you have a question, just hang on for 25 minutes and then I'll get to your question. Let's see. Cool. Andrew in the live chat said I'm a big fan, so thank you so much. That's awesome. That's actually really cool that my stream has fans. So anyway, I'm glad you're here. Glad you're here in the live chat and able to join us. So I really appreciate you all who are able to join in the live stream. I appreciate everyone watching. But it's also really cool to have that feedback in the live stream. It's definitely a different vibe whenever there's nobody. Did my camera? Oh no. Okay, I thought it froze for a second, but I was looking at a different preview, so we're good. Anyway, what I was trying to say was it's just a different feel when there's not that many people in the live chat. I don't know if it's bad. I wouldn't say it's bad, but it's very different. So I kind of like when there's more activity. Harshad asked, have you tested the print view in PR50 in the bulletin? I have not tested it yet, so I'm going to test it soon. Probably I'll get back to that project when I'm done with this. But like I think I mentioned yesterday, I really just want this to be ready. I'm getting a little bit nervous because no one's been talking about it here. I don't know what the due date is. I'm just nervous that I missed something or that it's not going to be ready when it needs to be ready. So I'm trying to get ahead of things. Oh, you know what I just saw too? We don't want this color for the underline, so we need to change that as well. So we've already put in the code. No, we didn't. We need to put in border radius. Two pixels, and that should take care of it. Okay, now let's check this. Let me bring over my DevTools window and let's pull this to the side so we can see what we want to see here. And yeah, this is definitely the input. Interesting. Okay, yeah, this is what we want. So on focus, we want to change the color. Awesome. Alright, so let's grab this. And we'll change that color. Button styles, button styles. So let's put in input styles and let's put in this yellow. So I don't know if you remember from a stream a long time ago, probably months ago, we had some discussion about the color, this yellow color that's in the palette. So this is the color I'm talking about. And in its original version, it's just too light to use on the web. It's hard to read. So I converted it to this format and was able to darken it just a bit. And then that little change made it much easier to read. So on a button it's not a big deal, but if you I rarely do a font like this, but on like a thin place like this, then it's useful to have it just slightly darker. So it's almost, you'd have to have the colors right next to each other to really tell the difference, but it's that little bit of darkness really helps. So I kind of like that. I think it's the third. Was it hue, saturation, light, and I don't even remember what the last one is. I think that's what it is. So anyway, I believe it's this third value here that you need to change to darken or lighten an image, or I'm sorry, a color. Okay, so that's right, that's what we want. Now let's grab this, and I want to do two things to this. Wow, actually text decoration none. So we want to change the color first of all, but then we also want to make sure that we have a text decoration none no matter what. I don't really like the underline. I think the cursor pointer will be fine. I'm assuming we have that. Yeah, we do. It should be by default on an A tag anyway. So let's grab, oh goodness, this is just the default A style. Alright then. Link style, let's see where we want to put this. I almost want to put the styles that are more universal, you know, for a base element like an A tag up at the top. So let's put that at the top. Did I? No, I didn't copy that yet. Let's see. None. Alright, let's see what color. I don't want this blue, but I do want, whoa, what is that? Alright, for some reason we just got to refresh. It's okay. I want to, I'm okay with the blue color. Let's check out what we're currently using. Here, okay, here we're using this blue. This blue is in the color palette, but I'm not really a big fan of it for the web. So let's see. I'm pretty sure we have links here. Okay, so we are using that yellow for links. Okay, we could try that. I'm a little bit hesitant to put the yellow text right next to the yellow button. It might be too much. So maybe we switch up the button. The only reason I really like yellow for a button is it stands out. Now this isn't really a call to action, so I'm not that worried about it, but for a button that would be more of a call to action, I do like that the yellow stands out. Alright, let's just see, since we have the hex code right here, or I shouldn't say the hex code because it's not what we're using, but since we have this here, we'll try that first. If not, I'm going to try to track down a blue color that I know I'm using on a few other sites that I do like better. Oops, I forgot, I don't have live reload. Alright, so now's a good time. Whoops. And make sure we apply that to both. And then let's just get all of them just to be sure. I'm not going to test it out to see if this is necessary because it's just so quick to type this out. Alright, so let's go through our little flow here. We're going to take our styles, move it into our template. We're going to save that, and then we're going to take all of this and move it over here. Now you'll see this looks a little bit different. I wanted to show you all the newer version. I think they call it the Lightning experience. So this is what the newer version looks like. And also, if you remember yesterday, I was super frustrated by how tiny this window was here with the code. So I went in DevTools and made it a lot bigger. I'm thinking about using Tamper Monkey to write a script to just change this. But I don't know if it's worth it. It depends on how much I'm going to be working with this. If I'm going to work with it a lot, then it's going to annoy me, so maybe I will write a script. But for now, since I'm just copy and pasting in there, it doesn't really matter. It'd be worse if I had to edit it directly. Okay, let's check this out. Okay, so that's working out like we want it to. Buttons here, the yellow. I don't know how I feel about that yellow. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I might change it. I think I'm going to leave it for now. Just kind of get used to it and then maybe come back to it later on. So let's make a note. And let's see, can you do inline notes? No, you can't. Well, at least let's see if you could do this. I don't think, you know what, I think you can do it in Sass, but not in regular CSS. I don't really know. It doesn't matter. I'll put it right here. Okay. Alright. I'm just going to look quickly. Oh, that actually changed that as well. That's interesting. So I guess this is an A tag and this is not. Actually, I don't really hate these being two different colors. But I'm going to revisit those again. I really don't want to mess with the colors too much while I have a different font, because the font, the type of font, and then especially the font weight plays such a huge role in how things look. A color might be fine with one font, and with another font it'll make it unreadable. So let's get the right font in here. I know I keep saying we need to change the font, so let's just do it now. So I'm going to go through, I could just copy the font from another project, but I think it might be a good idea to go through how to grab a font. So we're going to get a Google font. Let's see. So I just typed in Roboto Google font. I'm going to go to Google Fonts. Okay, now there is a home page to Google Fonts where you can browse different fonts and pick what you want. So you can go to that if you're not sure what you want. But since we knew exactly what font we wanted, we're just going to go right to it. So you can see a lot of information about the font. But what we want to do is select it. So we're going to go up here and select this font. And then we have this little drawer down here. And it'll give us several options for how to embed this font. We can also customize the font, so we can see, we can grab what we want. So right now we're just bringing in the regular 400 font weight, but I want to bring in light, medium, bold, and I'm not sure if we're using italic anywhere. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not going to bring in any italic now. If we find somewhere where we see italic text, we'll bring this in. But for now, this is good. If we end up not using one of these font weights, we can always redo it later, because this is a lot to load. It gives you a load time estimate of moderate. We'd rather get it to be fast. So I'm thinking we actually might not need the medium at some point, but we'll see. For now, I'd rather have it so that I could see what they look like. You can also pick languages, so we're going to stick just with Latin. Sorry, I don't mean languages in the sense of I know it says languages, but these are really more characters. I'm not sure why they have languages as the title there. Okay, so we can do it two different ways. We could do the standard way, or we could use the @import, and I'm not sure what would be the best. I don't know. I think I'm going to try to do the standard way, since we have access. If I only had access to a style sheet, it's nice that you can import it as well. But let's put this in right above our style. We're going to bring this in, and see, you can see it tells us all our font sizes here. And now we'll just copy this, and before I paste this into our style sheet, let's see where they're bringing in their font, if they're putting it on the body tag or down lower. Let's see, font. Okay, they are, oh, they're bringing it on the HTML tag. Okay, that's interesting. I think we'll bring ours in on the body tag. There should not be anything that displays outside of the body, and that's true. So I'm going to put it on the body tag. And I'm going to do this like this. So HTML body. That way I'm positive that at least at this level my font family is more specific than theirs, so it should override theirs. We may find some cases where they've added a font family, you know, down lower or something more specific, but we'll figure that out when we get to it. So with these, I want to test this out. And oops, keep forgetting where I have these windows. Actually, you know what I really want to do? Whoa. Oh, interesting. So it's giving me an error for my link tag. Interesting. Let's see if I can just do this. Okay. So it would not let me put this link tag in without terminating the tag, which is fine. Obviously, we've been doing React for so long, we're used to doing that. So normally I would, but since we just copied and pasted in, I didn't even notice. Okay. Anyway, I was going to say, if I end up using Tamper Monkey to put a script in, I think I'm going to put in a button that can just make this full screen, because I don't need any of this stuff around the edges. It's just taking up a lot of space, and I'll never need to select anything. So that might be useful. to have a nice, full screen. I don't know what these buttons do. Maybe there is a full screen. No, that's a search. This is like, oh, okay, there is an undo, redo, increase font size, decrease. This is the most bare bones editor I've seen. At least it tells you the positions. It's probably hard to see. That font's really small, but it does tell you the line numbers. So not bad, but very basic. Okay, let's see what this is. Nice. Let's verify that we are getting the correct font. So we're just going to click on a font here, and we'll go to computed and see. Computed is usually the easiest way to find something specific. Yep, it's the right font. Let's try one other place just to be sure. It all looks right, but yep, there we go. Okay, wonderful. Great. Alright, so with the exception of a few things that we're going to think about and maybe come back to later on, this is not bad. We may change this, add some things, I don't know, but I don't want to make any serious design changes until I get some input from other people at the university here, because it's honestly going to be a waste of effort if other people have strong opinions and more authority than me for me to try to do something right now. Okay. Let's see. Alright, I got about 4 minutes left, and then I'll do question and answer. So if you've been asking questions, just hang on for 4 minutes, and then I'll get to them. Okay, now let's check this sign up view and make sure that it looks right. If everything's right with that, then we're actually going to sign in. If you remember yesterday, we tried to sign in and it looked a mess. So we're going to have some work to do. So let's sign up. Okay, interesting. Interesting. Maybe there's an inactive class. I'll have to check that out as to why these colors are changing. But this looks fine. It looks like all our styles are being applied. Oh, that's a problem. I don't know if you noticed that. We need to, let's see what it does here. Alright, this spacing is fine, but we need to add some more space between this and this. So before with the other font, it wasn't overlapping, but now you can see it's actually overlapping. That T and the G are overlapped, so that's not good. This kind of thing, I don't want to make myself sound like I'm an expert or anything, but I really think that when it comes to CSS stuff, attention to small details like that are the difference between a really good site and an okay site. It's not the type of thing that every user is going to notice, but if a user does notice it, it's going to drop their confidence in your brand or your company or anything. At least it definitely does for me. If I notice little things like that, I think if this company doesn't pay attention to these little details on their own sites, are they going to pay attention to the little details when dealing with me, with whatever product or service that they're offering? So I've actually just refused to look at anything else on a company's webpage because I notice little things like that or even bigger problems, and I basically just in my head think if they don't care enough about me as a user to fix these things, then that's not really the people that I want to work with. So at least to me it's a big deal. Maybe it's just because I do this and I notice those things, but I mean, if you went to a building, right, and the steps were all cracked and it was hard to get in and it was kind of, dirty, it would leave a bad impression, right? It's the same thing with a website. You come to a company's website and things aren't quite right. It makes an impact on people. Alright, so enough of my speech on CSS. Let's fix this. Okay, so our H1, let's grab this class and where we at? Application title. Let's put this down in the card styles section since we're inside the card. So in our card style section, this is about the entire card, the wrapper. So it makes sense that the title would be underneath that. So I'm trying to give some structure to the CSS. I'm not following a specific methodology, but better to try to do something than just have a mess of things, which if you've all watched the streams for previous projects, you know I have a tendency to make a mess of the CSS if I'm not careful. Okay, so let's just change this bottom margin a bit. Margin bottom, and let's go with, I know they're doing EMs, but I'm just way more comfortable with pixels. I can usually tell how many pixels I need just by looking at a thing, and I can't with other units. Let's go 24, because what we really want, oh yeah, that's much better. Let's zoom out a bit. Yeah, perfect. I like that. Okay, so let's grab this and paste it over. Great. Okay, I'm not going to bother testing this right now. It's pretty basic. It should work. And my timer has just ran out. So let's take our 5 minutes, do some question and answer. Let me scroll up to the top, and I'm going to work my way down and get to as many questions and comments as I can. If I don't get to your question during this session, after our next 25-minute session of coding, then I'll get to all the questions. So Red asks, is it possible to learn Python on freeCodeCamp? So as far as I know, freeCodeCamp, their exercises or challenges, whatever they call them, it does not deal with Python. But potentially freeCodeCamp is more than just those lessons. So you have the YouTube videos, you have the forum, you now have the guide, which deals with a lot of different topics. So there may be other freeCodeCamp resources that could help you learn Python, but in terms of the specific challenges that are on the main freeCodeCamp site, I don't believe there's any Python in there. They are working on a new curriculum. As far as I know, there's no Python in that either. I could be mistaken. So if anybody's, I know some of you that watch this are also working on helping with other things in freeCodeCamp. So if I'm wrong about that, let me know. But I tell you where is a decent place for me to pick up the little bit of Python knowledge that I know is Udacity's Intro to Computer Science course uses Python. So if you also would like to get some background in computer science and learn Python at the same time, that's probably your best route. If you are already really confident in all these computer science concepts and you just need to learn Python syntax quickly, then that might not be the best for you. You might want to try out Code Academy's in-browser exercises. I believe they have Python. I'm not 100% sure. It's been a while since I was on their site. But those would be my top suggestions. Hopefully that helps. Okay, Harshit says, I have a question. What is the benefit of using Salesforce? Let's see. You may have used Google Form for submissions. Yeah, so the benefit with Salesforce is really in, I don't know how much, I don't want to show you too much in the Salesforce because we have student data that you're not supposed to show anyone. So I don't want to accidentally show that on YouTube because the university could get in a lot of trouble for that, and so could I. So I'm just going to try to describe a little bit about the other things that Salesforce does. This would probably be, I'm sure you could check it out on their website, but basically the ability to track and run reports on all the data easily from a pretty simple user interface is one of the strengths of Salesforce. There are a lot of other additional things Salesforce can do with that data, like sending emails automatically depending on what stage of the journey they're in. I mean, you can get, Salesforce is like you pay for the base product and then you pay for these add-ons. So depending on what add-ons you get, it could do other things. We're maybe going to get an add-on soon, I hope we do, where we could define routes, basically a decision tree for new students or donors or whoever. Depending on what actions they take, they go through an entirely different route of automated emails and mailings and phone calls and different things that could happen, so that we can really customize the experience for each prospective student so that they get the materials that are of most interest to them based on, you know, where they're at, what major they're interested in, what sport they're interested in playing. So I think it'll be a nice... It'll help to automate a lot of the work that we are having people do right now that there's no need for them to do manually. So that'll be nice to free up some time for other people, but then it'll also be really nice for the prospective students as well, so that they don't get a lot of material that's irrelevant to them and kind of a waste of their time to go through. So that's kind of the cool thing that, to me, that I've seen that Salesforce does. There's so much more that Salesforce does that I have never seen or used. So I don't want to limit it to that. There's also some machine learning things that they're building in now that I haven't used. So it can do so much more. In this use case, it's basically an online form, right? We could do this ourselves, and it would be easier, honestly, to build out the form in just plain HTML and CSS, send it to a Google Sheet, and be done with it. But we wouldn't have access to all those other things, and it wouldn't tie into other systems that we have on campus. So anyway, hopefully that explains it a bit. I am by far not a Salesforce expert, so I'm sure I'm not doing it justice in terms of what it can do. Okay. Let me go. Alright, I was just checking. No, I don't think... I was hoping I could get down to the bottom of the chat, but there's too much there now. So I'm just going to mark down where I left off, and we'll get back to it after our 25-minute code session. Okay. Alright. So, what was next? Alright, we fixed this. Now we're going to log in. I thought, didn't we log in yesterday? Why am I logged out of... Alright, I'm going to grab the... grab what I need on this other screen. Evidently I have several accounts for this now that I'm checking in my my LastPass. Okay. Alright, that should work. Whoa. Wait, hold on. You all saw this yesterday, right? It did not look like this yesterday. This is... What did we click on yesterday that looked so crazy? Alright, we need to check this out. Okay, this is our video from yesterday. This is what it looked like yesterday. And then now it looks like this. I'm happy that it looks like that, but I don't know. Well, hopefully at some point we'll get this screen again and can see what the problem is. Alright, wow. That's pretty crazy. Okay. Well, I'm happy about this. So the styles that we've applied here and to the button are still working, as well as our font. So that's good news. This might take less time than I anticipated. So let's go ahead and start the online app. Why did it make me click that and then click another button? Alright, that's not really something I can change. I don't think that was a good user experience decision though. Alright, let me see. I'm just kind of checking. The font size is a little small for me. That looks like 12 or 14. Yeah, it's 14. Let's make that bigger. Where are we getting that 14 from? Disclaimer. I like to set my minimum font size at 16 pixels. So how is this? Percentage container. Wow, this one is at 12 point font. Yeah, we definitely need to make these bigger. These should both be at least 16. Let's see if we can. Let's see if we put it on here on this element, if we can get it to affect the elements below it. I don't think so, but it's worth a shot. Let's see. 14 pixels. Oops. It's 16. No, but can we get? There we go. No, I don't want that. Now it affected this font size as well. Alright, I was just trying to get around being really specific with these classes, but I think we're going to have to. So, let's go. What do we got for this one? I guess we could use not. Yeah, let's just do that. Let's try to use not. Span not. Will that work? Yay, that worked. Awesome. I like that. Okay, let me copy and paste this and then explain what I did in case you're not familiar with this selector. Where are we going to put this under? Let's go with, oops, did not mean to hit that. Actually, let me make this a bit bigger. I'm sorry, I should have made this bigger earlier. Okay, application styles. Okay, so here's what I did. Hopefully you can see this. You know what, let me reset these settings because I don't want this to get cut off by my face. So we need to set this so that we can scroll past the bottom. Core settings. Scroll past end. Okay, that's a good setting. I like to have this setting on all the time. I don't know how it got turned off, but scroll past end and Atom lets us do this, which can be useful if you don't want to have things right at the bottom of your screen. So right now, here's what we're doing. We've selected that TargetX application percentage container, which was our full container. And then instead of having to go through each one of these spans and select the class, because we didn't want it to apply to one of the spans, so instead of having to select each one of these separately, we just added a not and then put the class that we didn't want to have in there. So this is so much more concise. So that's what we've done there. In situations like that, it's really nice and it saves some code. All right. Okay. I'm okay with this. The only thing I might change, and I'm not worried about right now, is this red. I don't understand why they're going with red for that. That usually indicates that something's wrong, like an error. So maybe we'll change that. Let's see. I'm just really interested in seeing what it looks like when we start. So let's move on to that. Okay, not bad. Let's ensure that our styles, okay, so our button styles are not applying whenever this disabled class is there. Let's see what happens though when we apply. Okay, great. Now our styles do take effect. So that's okay. Let's make sure that our card styles are there. It looks like it, but it can't hurt to double check. TargetX card. Interesting. Computed. No, they didn't apply. Okay, but we do have a nice class to latch onto here. So we have this TargetX card. So let's grab that, and we should be able to just add this to our card styles that we already have. So here's our card styles. It's interesting, on that first page, they don't use this card class on what is essentially a card. So that's a little bit odd. Okay, but that should take care of this card. Also, I want to fix the same thing that we had going on before with the spacing. Let's see, TargetX application form title. Let's make sure. Okay, great. We should be fine. We just never pasted those styles over. So I'm not worried about that. Let's see. They have this blue color is on these drop downs. So we may change that, and they are actually really small. Alright, I'm not going to change it right now. Right now going through, I'm trying to differentiate between things that if I have time, I would like to do, and things that really should be done. So this category here of things are things that I think aren't necessary to do. So we're going to hold off on these. What we would do is change the color and the size and positioning of these a bit so that they're in here more. But I'd rather kind of go through everything and look for major issues. Alright, so let's start. Now the problem with this application is going to be that there are things that I won't see depending on what choices I make. Hopefully there's nothing like really different that I should be seeing. It should just be what questions I get shown or not. Whoa. Alright, so this is, this is a good illustration of the difference. Like, this obviously is something that needs change. This is ridiculous. Oh, interesting. On this page, these arrows are much more reasonable in terms of size. I wouldn't say arrows. What do they call these? Chevrons? Okay. Alright, so the only problems I see here right now are the logo is way too small. This button needs styling. And the text is way too small in a lot of places. Here, you know, down here, inside this select, this button needs styles. Ugh, do you see this? We're definitely going to take away that. I'm not a fan of this here. Yeah. Alright, so we're going to take away that animation. Let's see what happens. That's a cool effect. We'll want to change the colors here of this sidebar. I think the font size should be larger here. I'm thinking more of on a phone, the tap targets need to be, I would say at least 40 pixels tall. And that's nowhere near 40. Interesting. This is going to need some work on mobile. I'm actually really surprised that it looks like this on a mobile device. I'm not going to do it on the stream since you won't be able to see unless I plug my phone in. But I'm not a fan of this. I'm surprised. This should be centered. Maybe it is centered in terms of the entire width, but they're not taking into account this little sidebar, and they should. So it should be centered. It should exclude this width and then be centered here. Yeah, so that definitely needs some work. There's no reason why we can't show the logo as well. I mean, I'm all for a really slim nav bar on mobile because there's not a lot of screen space, but I think we could stand to be a little bit taller here and keep the logo. Otherwise, there's no branding at all for the university. Okay, let's see how much time I have. 9 minutes. All right. Now would be a good time to make some notes about this because I just noticed a lot of things and I'm definitely going to forget them after the question and answer session. So let's grab a Trello board and make these issues. I mean, normally, well, I wouldn't say normally. I was trying to test out doing a GitHub project instead of a Trello board, but I'm not even really putting this on GitHub right now, so, and I don't know if I ever will. So let's just go with the Trello board. I forgot. I'm on a Chrome Canary and I don't have any of my stuff saved. Alright, I'm going to make a new one. and board title. Salesforce application, and I'm just going to go with the blue for now. Okay. To do. I'm not going to do all my Kanban rows here right now because I just want to get these ideas out of my head and onto something before I forget as fast as I can. Okay, so let's say let's see, application nav, and I'm going to give these estimates, Pomodoro estimates, while I'm doing these. I probably wouldn't need a whole Pomodoro cycle to fix that, but it's easier to type 1 than 0.5. Let's see. Okay, so the first three, in case you can't read these, it's fix button colors in the nav here, change the side nav colors, increase font size in items on the side nav, change icon colors, and we're going to make all fonts at least 16 pixels, and let me check this out, because I think what's happening is they're using gray instead of black with opacity. So let's double check this. It didn't give me what I wanted. Okay. Yeah, see, is this it? So their grays are actual grays. We don't want that. We want grays that are black with opacity set. And I can't find where they have this label. Input, there it is. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, see, that's great. Let me change this right now just to show you what a difference. So I'm going to zoom in here on this name, where it says name right here. And let me change this. So let's bring this up and let's just pick a black. So we're going to do black first. And then actually let me switch it. No. There we go. Alright, so let's go 54. Okay. This is going to be hard to tell because we don't have it side by side. But basically, hopefully you're able to see, and you could go back and rewind the video and see. It's so much easier to read text that's black with opacity. Transparency. Yeah, you could say either way, transparency or opacity, but basically it's 54% is the standard that I do when I want to do input fields. 87% is the standard color for all other text, but it's so much easier to read when you do that as opposed to using a very similar color but using the hex code for gray. In this case, it was CCCCCC. Yeah, I think that was right. So anyway, that's just a good tip. That's actually in the material design guidelines, so I didn't make that up myself or discover it myself. But anyway, that's a good tip. So let's just say in our Trello board, okay. All right. What else did I see? We're going to remove that hover effect for these buttons. Scroll down. Wow. So required field shows up as red. I'm going to have to think about that. That seems a little extreme. I have it show up that red. See that? Oh, let's see. Center cards on mobile. Let's see. Okay. Not bad. Okay. Not bad so far. Let me check my timer. Alright, I got a minute left, so we're going to stop there. We got a little bit, down there, so not too bad. All the big things are there. Oh, actually, I'm going to change the colors on these indicators, so there we go. Alright. I'm just going to start with the question answer session a little bit early, since there's not that much I can get done in another minute. So let me scroll up to where I left off. So at this point in the stream, I'm finished for the most part with the coding portion. So if you're not interested in the question answer session, then that would be the time when you might want to take off. Otherwise, please stick around and help answer questions or ask some questions of your own. Okay. Let's see. All right. Rook said, please add some space between username and sign in when you click it. Yes. That was exactly what I was thinking. So good call on that. Sorry I didn't look over and see that sooner. Ooh, okay. Harshit has some good advice here. Harshit says he found an online wireframing software called Figma, F-I-G-M-A, which is as good as Sketch, and it is free. So check that out. I've just heard of it, so I can't recommend it, but check that out, Figma.com, Figma.com. Thanks for this, the suggestion, Harshit. John Hansen says, with Google Fonts, is it ever worth it to actually put their CSS into your code, or best to leave as a relative link? Harshit says, I guess for Roboto, it's good to use the link because it's usually cached. It's quite a popular font. Yeah, I agree. And I think that what Harshit said can apply across the board to different JavaScript libraries and CSS libraries and things. If it's very popular, you might get better performance in terms of load times by using the link from a CDN or something like that. If what you're using is not as popular, then you might get better performance by having it, within your code base. So it's a good idea when you come to the testing phase for, site speed, to try it either way and see what kind of results you get. Oh, it looks like those sign up and login links that we were seeing on the first page that for me were 2 different colors were not 2 different colors for some of you. So maybe I thought we changed it for visited as well, right? Didn't we do that? Yeah, for visited. Maybe active? There's got to be some sort of active or inactive class that's going on. Well, I'll have to check that out more closely later on. That'll probably fall into the category of little things that don't absolutely need done, but if we have time, we'll do it. Oh, okay. Rook says the courses from Rice University on Coursera are also good for Python. They're free to audit. So awesome. Thanks for pointing that out, Rook. There's a lot of free courses out there. It is really good to hear what other people say about the courses, because otherwise it's like, which one do you pick? There's so many free courses, not just for stuff like we do, but all different fields. Worlds asks, do you see things like Salesforce take away possible dev jobs in the future? I don't know that I know enough about this to give a good answer, but based on what I do know, here's what I think. Something like Salesforce would help to cut down on a lot of manual work that's done, but not necessarily by developers. I'm talking about data entry work. Manually filing things, manually making spreadsheets and copying things over. So in that sense, I don't think those are necessarily things that devs would be doing. And for Salesforce, if you want to do custom things, then you sometimes need a dev. So I could see it going another way, and there's now this whole niche of Salesforce devs that can develop add-ons to Salesforce or change the look. Right now, with the level of permissions that I have in Salesforce, I actually have higher permissions than most other people in the university because I need to access some of the code. But I don't have permissions to change everything. But if I did, I could change the look of the whole UI for the admin panel in Salesforce. You could change quite a bit. So I imagine there are dev opportunities because of Salesforce where there weren't opportunities before. Now, certainly, are there going to be as many opportunities for devs to build something like this from scratch, proprietary systems for different institutions? No, but I don't know that'd be a good situation anyway. That would be kind of a mess I think, to have to go in and every different place has their own custom-built system. I don't know. So I guess my short answer is I'm of the opinion that this would not take away dev jobs. It might just shift dev jobs. Harsh, it says, did your famous IT department finish the single sign-on? Yes, they did, actually. Let me show you what the single sign-on looks like. I don't think I showed you this. I did work on some of the styles. It didn't turn out exactly like I wanted it to, but it was a weird workflow where I couldn't edit any styles directly. I had to send them to the head of the IT department, and then she forwarded them on to another company, and then somebody at that company had to actually put the styles in. We had a lot of trouble going back and forth where the code that I gave them didn't get inputted into the right place or properly, and so finally I just tried to make as complete of style sheets as I could and then send them and say exactly where to put them. And then for the most part it worked out, but there's still a lot I would change, but the feedback loop was just so slow. Like, we're talking like weeks before I could see what the changes were. So I did what I could do, you know, considering all the other projects that I had going on. So you all could go to the login screen if you wanted to. It's accessfus.franciscan.edu. You won't be able to get past the login screen though. So let me show you. I actually can log in as a student or as a staff member. I'll log in as a staff member. I think there's more to see there. So basically, the background image wasn't my decision. That was already there when I started working on it. I don't know that I would have put a background image there, but there were so many other issues that I just left that alone. There is one cool thing that you can see here in the image that's kind of weird. I don't know how many people noticed this, but it was a long exposure photo. So some students were walking here, and you can see a couple things. One, you can see a shadow on the wall, but you can also see this faint outline of like a student's shoe in their leg. So it looks like there's a ghost there. So anyway, cool little Easter egg that I don't know how many people will notice. But anyway, you could see I added the proper card style, shadows, border radius, the right effect for the button, changed the font to Roboto. Another thing that's really weird is this. Look at that. That's an image. I have no idea why they couldn't just put in text. I'm pretty sure that's an image inside of an H tag. That's another one of those things that I recommended to them to change, and it didn't get done, so I just left it alone. They are using the older logo on this screen, which is fine. I think it works better in this situation. Once we log in, we'll see the newer logo. So we have the new logo here. We have the newer styles for the header. I would have liked to have done more with this search, but like I said, there are a lot of other problems. This black line was added after I already submitted all my styles. I would not have this thick and this color. I would make it much thinner and a gray color, but maybe, you know, this will be the next round of changes. I'm hoping now that it's completed, we'll actually have more access to do some changes on our own, but I'm not sure. I also made, these were cards, kind of, but they didn't have the right styles, so now they have the right styles. The border radius, the shadows, a hover effect. Since they're all clickable, I have a hover effect. Normally, I don't recommend a hover effect on a card unless the entire thing is clickable. So anyway, the University Bulletin is on here currently, and that's what we've been working on as the Project 4, I think. So I'd love to have it integrated into this. I think they're using a SAML for the single sign-on. So still need to talk more with the IT department to get in there. Their last suggestion was, why don't you just make it so that you can only see the bulletin if you click on this link within here? I don't think that's the best idea. I mean, I'm not even sure how I would implement that and it would actually be secure. But even if I could, then that would mean that nobody could actually go directly to the bulletin. So any bookmarks to the bulletin wouldn't really work. You'd have to come through here. So rather not do that. So we'll see. Hopefully we can get it integrated better. So anyway, this is it. You click on it, you're automatically logged in. So not bad. I'm really excited that they got this working. It's something that they've wanted for a really long time, and yeah, so I'm happy. I'm proud of the IT people for getting this together and working. So and I'm happy that they asked me to work on the styles too. So that was really cool. I think it shows that they know that I'm good at this, I guess, or good enough that they wanted me to do it, and that they care about the look of the sites, which I think is awesome. So always happy to collaborate with other departments whenever possible, and so this was cool. And that's cool. The head of the IT department is really nice. She's a really smart woman, and I enjoy working with her. So so this was kind of a cool project. Just a little one, but it was nice. Alright, let me go back to the live chat. John Hansen says, going to the gym for a workout. My wife's home and is making me go. What can I say? Well, I guess you gotta keep your wife happy, right? That's your marriage means more than your coding, right? Gotta keep it in perspective. So, see you tomorrow, John. Okay, Blake says, thanks for the pull request, but now everything is undefined. Okay, so earlier today I submitted a pull request to one of Blake's projects. Yeah, so let me... Not working... So here's what I would say. You're getting undefined. Everything is undefined. What are your here's what I would check, Blake. What do your headers look like on your Google Sheet? Because if you're actually getting information to go to your Google Sheet and it's saying undefined, then that means a lot is going right. So that's a good sign. But we need to make sure that, one, the data getting sent is in the right format, which it ought to be. You just need serialized data. And then we also need to make sure that the headers match up exactly with the names. So let me, okay, cool. Alright, let's check this out. Blake, do you mind if we check this out on the live stream right now? I don't want to check it out if there's any data in there that I shouldn't show, but it would be cool to show everybody a little bit more about how this works. So just let me know. I'll open it on another. Okay, cool. Alright, so let's open this up here. And let me get rid of this dot, or this asterisk. Okay. Okay, here's... This is a test, this is a test. Okay, so we have... What was this last one? Name, email. Let's put in another row. That should be helpful. Another column, I mean. Come on, another column. Why won't you let me put another... Oh, it's view only. I'm going to send a request for edit access. If you don't want to give it to me, that's fine. I'll just tell you what to do here. But I'd like to add another column for the timestamp because that can be helpful. Let me check out the repo as well. Oops, on the wrong repo. Okay, let me see. Oops. Dang it. Okay. Left. Get timestamp, and let's make sure. Okay. It looked like there was a space at the end of name, so that potentially could have been the problem with name. So let's see. So that may work now. And let's see. Test, undefined. Let's double check this. Yeah. Okay. As long as you know, is that a challenge? Let me show you. I think I still have my stuff up. Okay, so this is. So this is exactly how I had it set up. So I was able to get everything to come through at one point. So it looks like interesting. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the issue with the name was that extra space at the end. So that should work now, because that was consistently undefined. Let's see. Let me check out. I mean, if you want to test that again, maybe it'll work. Rook asks, is that a SteelSeries Siberia headset, by the way? Those are really comfortable. Yes, it is. That's crazy that you were able to identify the headset from my tiny video in the corner there. So cool. Yeah, I really like these SteelSeries headsets. I've been using them for I think at least 3 years, and they're great. They are really comfortable. Occasionally my ears will hurt, but only if I've been coding like all day. I'm talking like for like 10 hours if I've had them on, 10 hours plus. Otherwise, it's great. Audio quality, I don't really know. I'm not really an audiophile, so they sound good to me. It would be nice if they had a little bit more bass, but it's not a huge deal. They sound good, and it keeps the rest of the noise out from other things going on, so it keeps me focused. Over the under 5 says, you won't be able to get past the login screen though. Is that a challenge? Actually, yes. If anybody can get into this Access FUS somehow, get to this screen, and prove that you got to that screen, then I don't know what you'll get. You'll definitely get a shout out on the live stream at the very least. But that would really be awesome. I would I wouldn't call out the IT department, but I would like quietly just go to the head of IT and say, you might want to check this out. So that's how I prefer to handle things. I have a lot of respect for the head of the IT department, so I don't like to publicly call anyone out on stuff. I'd rather give her the chance to, you know, handle it with her team quietly. And I appreciate when they give that same chance to me if something's wrong on my site. So I'm a big believer in like going directly to a person privately when something should be changed instead of calling them out publicly. Calling someone out publicly, in my mind, should always be the absolute last resort, because you can't ever take that back. Okay, so I just saw one go in here. Does this mean that it worked? Let me see. All right, cool. Blake says it's working. Yay. All right, and Blake, I did change a lot of stuff for the Google App Script stuff. So if you want me to explain why I changed the things I did, let me know. Otherwise, I mean, if you can check it out and figure out what's going on, then that's good too. But I'd be happy to explain a little bit what I did. I didn't really change that much at all with the code that's on the site, with the HTML or the JavaScript. The biggest changes were in that Google App Script, and that's only because I have used it, I don't know, maybe a half a dozen times on other sites successfully. So I just pulled a lot of that code from my other sites since I knew that it was already working. Okay, Blake says, and I'm assuming because of the Google script, it sends the form to me, but it won't send it to test@test.com. Yeah, so that area where I put test@test.com, so let's check this out. Let's check out the script editor. So if you've never seen this in Google, this is really cool. So on Google Sheets, you can run JavaScript right in here. This does not handle any ES6 or beyond, so just beware of that. That's why we're doing this ridiculous stuff here with concatenating all these strings and variables instead of using template literals. So I am part of a very large string on the forums for Google Apps Script asking for ES6 support, but that's been going on for like 2 years, so I don't know if they'll ever have it or when. Otherwise, this is really cool. So you can see when we're sending the emails. Okay, it looks like you already changed that. I'm really sorry if you didn't want that email shown on the live, but I can't do anything about it now, so sorry about that. But anyway, yeah, so you can hard code the to email that you want to get, so either your email or the email of whoever needs to be checking this at the company that you're building this for. And then for this email that the user gets, it pulls the email from its e.parameter.email. So it's just pulling that out from obviously an object. And then, so that's why there's two different templates, because for the user right now we're keeping it simple and just saying, hey, we received your submission as a subject, thank you. Of course you can add anything else you want, but then for the person that's actually receiving, they need the data, right? They need to know name, email, phone, message. So that's why we have two different templates and we're doing two different sends. Also, I don't know how you have this set up. If email is not a required field, which I recommend it should be, but so we don't get an error, we have this send in an if statement. So it'll only attempt to send it if there is an email, otherwise you'll get an error. So that's why we wrap this in an if statement. But like I said, I would recommend making the email, first of all, validating that it's a valid email, and then also making it required. So anyway, I'm glad I could help with that. So I mean, like I said, I'm really happy to help. I've done it before, so I've gone through quite a bit of oh no more access. No, that's cool. I've gone through quite a bit of troubleshooting with Google Sheets and sending form data to Google Sheets. So no sense in you having to go through all that work. Better to share my information with you and save you a bunch of time. Okay, let me go back through. Michael says the background image has ghosts. I think I saw Slenderman in there somewhere also. Yeah, it is weird. I didn't even notice it. Somebody in the IT department noticed it and told me. And I thought we were going to try to get a different image in there or Photoshop that out. But I guess that didn't happen. So I don't think it's a huge deal. I think it's kind of a cool little Easter egg. But I don't know. Maybe we'll probably switch that image. My boss looked at it today and said he wants to switch out the image. So it'll probably happen at some point. Harshit says, switching to Kali Linux now. I will get through now. If you don't know what Kali Linux is, then you're not a hacker, number one. But also, Kali Linux is Linux that comes preloaded with all these penetration testing tools in there. So if you're white hat, they're for penetration testing to use it for good. If you're black hat, then they're hacking tools that could be used for evil. So if you're interested in that type of thing, check out Kali Linux. If you intend on using it for evil, though, then you didn't hear it from me. Let's see. Okay, Blake says, how do I redirect it to a thank you page? Okay, so you want a thank you page to come up after the successful form submission? Yeah, you could, since you're using JavaScript to submit the form, I actually recommend that you don't redirect to an entirely new page because that would cause a page refresh and that's unnecessary. What I think might be better, let's bring this up. I think I have it on another screen. Okay, so what I think might be better is when you submit the form, you have either a modal pops up or something in the submit button, maybe a little check mark and it turns green, something like that telling people that it was submitted. I like that for two reasons. One, you don't get a page refresh, which is nice, but also it allows the user then to immediately fill out the form again in case they want to. Would they really want to? I don't know. But potentially maybe they didn't put in the full message or they put in the wrong thing and didn't realize it till they sent it. Then they won't have to, do any type of navigation at all. They can just redo it. So that's my recommendation. And if you wanted to do that, then what you want to do then is in your contact.js, here where it's this .done do something, that's where you'll want to do, whatever. Form.contact form, submit form. So like you might want to do submit form, click. So maybe submit form, something like this. Because that's the button, right? And maybe you could just do like CSS color background color and then do, I don't know, like green. Something like that would probably work. So check that out. If you're interested and want me to submit a pull request for that, I can definitely do it. I mean, I already have this in here. Otherwise, this is where you'd want to do it, and just make sure that the submit button is still active if they want to resubmit. That would be my suggestion. I usually do modals that pop up and say, "Hey, this worked," but you don't have to get that complicated with it. Just something really simple down here, a check mark icon, anything, I think would work. Okay, Blake says, thank you. You're welcome, Blake. No problem. Oh, cool. Harshit says, I started learning ethical hacking last month. It's good. Cool. Yeah, I've always wanted to get into stuff like that, mainly to do penetration testing on my own sites and make sure that they're secure. But I just really haven't had time to get into it. Maybe one day. Blake asks, do an alert. I wouldn't do an alert, like not a JavaScript alert. So I actually recommend never doing JavaScript alerts on production sites. It's so much nicer if you can actually make a modal that will appear, because then you have much more control over the styles. Cool. Okay, so Blake's gonna do it himself. All right, that's cool, Blake. Just let me know if you have any trouble with it. I think you'll be fine though. Harshit says, I will try DDoS and SQL injection. Okay, now officially I did ask you all to try to do this, so if you get in trouble for attempting to hack a university website, make sure you tell the authorities that I'm a developer at this university and I asked you to do this testing. I don't want anybody getting in trouble for doing that. So I'll probably get in trouble at that point, but I don't want you all getting in trouble. So let's see. I'm doing these Patriot competition. Oh, cool. Blake says I'm doing the U.S. I'm trying to read how I would read this. Cyber Patriot competition this year. That's cool. I haven't heard of that competition. What's it for? Okay. Oh, okay. So it's a competition for securing networks and computers. Awesome. That sounds really cool. You have to let me know when the competition is and how it goes. I'm interested to hear how you do. And Blake asks, how do I reset it? So how would you reset the form then? Where's that form at? There we go. I think by default, it depends on what you want to do. If you go with the modal, then you could just have it so if you click outside of it, it goes away, or you can put a close, like a little X icon there. If you go with something down here, you could maybe do it so that when any of these inputs get focused, it just resets this. That's probably how I would do it, because if they focus on an input, then that means they probably want to change what they've done there. Cool. Rob says, I finally made the live stream when it was going. Score. Awesome. Glad you could make the live stream. Okay, Arshad says, I will not try. I don't want to get in trouble. Yeah, I didn't even think about it until just a minute ago. Like, that's probably not a good idea to have everybody try to hack that site, just because I don't know what the laws are in other countries, but I've heard that in the United States, at least, like, the laws are pretty strict about attempting to hack, even if you don't intend to do any harm. Like, you could still get you could still go to jail for that. So I mean, like I said, technically I'm giving you permission, but it may not even be. I probably don't have the authority really to give you permission to do that. But if you happen to see anything that would seem like something's off with the security, let me know, and I'll try to check it out. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine there's definitely some stuff we wouldn't want people to have access to. So, anyway, I have gotten to the bottom of the live chat, so I think I'm going to end the stream now. See what time it is. Yeah, pretty decent length of a stream. We're coming up on almost 2 hours here. So, all right. I get exhausted after these streams. I love doing them, but it definitely takes a lot of energy. Okay, so thanks everybody for helping and for watching the stream. And anyway, I'm really glad that I could help you out with your project, Blake. So if anybody ever wants help with your project, let me know. The best thing would be to send me the GitHub repo, because then I could actually see all the code. But I'm more than happy to help. I don't always have time to do things right away, but I'll try to get to it when I can. So I should be back tomorrow. It's already Thursday. Wow, tomorrow's Friday. The week just went by so fast. Yeah, so I'll be back tomorrow, probably around the same time, 2 p.m. Eastern time. And I think we'll be working on finishing up this the styles for this. I think it'll take less time than we anticipated, or at least that I anticipated. So maybe we'll be able to finish this up tomorrow and then move on to something else. So thanks again for watching, and until tomorrow, have a great day.